All right, today is November 9, 2022. This is a meeting of the Container Storage Interface Community. As a reminder, this meeting is public recorded and posted on YouTube. On the agenda today, we've got a couple of items. We'll go ahead and jump into them. If you have anything you'd like to add, feel free to add to the agenda as we go. You can find the link in your calendar invite. So first up, CSI 1.7 was cut earlier this month, November 3rd, and I believe it's in the process of being integrated into the latest Kubernetes release. And with that, let's move on to the next item from Deep, enhancements for runtime assisted mounts and management of file system operations. PR is out. Deep, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ad. So basically, this is the CSI related changes associated with the CAP that I've linked here. And the overall idea here is that what we have seen is when the runtime involved for some Kubernetes clusters is something like a micro VM environment, like say Kata, then what we have seen is it's more beneficial if the mounting actions and some of the post-mount steps that are done in Kubernetes, like applying FS group and handling subpath, like if these things are all delegated to the runtime side over a block-based interface like VirtIO block instead of projection file system like VirtIO FS or 9P, then there are several advantages for security and performance. So those are detailed in the CAP that's linked from this PR. And basically this PR in the CSI repo explores just the CSI specific changes that are needed for something like Kubelet or any other orchestrator to let the plugin know that it has validated that the runtime class has these abilities. And so if the CSI plugin also have similar abilities, a delegation can be performed. And just some quick context, like basically on the CAP side, we have had various reviews from folks like Jan and Michelle and others. So essentially, we have sort of converged on at least like the core set of changes that would be beneficial, which is mainly have the CSI plugins be passed a Boolean that is like, hey, do this delegation, and no specific details like, try to do a delegation based on a specific runtime and things like that. That's kind of like the high level idea. SIG node overall has taken a look as well, and they're kind of okay with like some of the runtime class related changes to express from the runtime side to kubelet that the runtime can perform or accept such a delegation from a CSI plugin. So that's kind of like the current state on the Kubernetes side of things.
And so if you have, let's say you want the iSCSI connection to happen from user space, would that be feasible through this proposal?
It can, like basically the runtime class will need to establish that based on its capabilities. Like it'll have a set of capabilities that it can surface to kubelet, and it should be able to specify that in its capabilities. As of right now, this is mainly scoped towards like mounting of the file system. So the iSCSI point is a great one. I didn't quite think about like, you're saying the runtime potentially performing the iSCSI connection as well, right?
Exactly.
Interesting. That was not in the scope of this, to be honest, but yeah, there's no reason that cannot be handled either. It is entirely possible.
Got it. Okay.
So it is, yeah, as I think Jan mentioned, this is a fairly, like, I guess, non-conventional change in a certain way, as in we are passing a runtime detail to the plugin. So would definitely love, you know, some feedback and reviews.
Yeah, I'll help take a look. I think it's an important change. I think it reflects kind of the state of where the project is, right? We're going to need these types of deep integrations. So thank you for driving this.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I also called out like one of the upstream CSI plugins, at least from I think Alibaba, that tries to do some of these things by doing, you know, API server lookups. And that's how we are doing it as well in some of our downstream CSI plugins. It all kind of works out by doing API server lookups, but of course we don't want that to happen in the plugins, and this alleviates that. And just like another extra context along the similar lines, like I try to follow up with Humble and some of the maintainers of Ceph CSI to see, you know, whether they'll be open to this. And they were like, yeah, this sounds great, but please get the changes in through CSI so we don't have to do these lookups of runtime class from the plugin. And kind of like along the same lines, another inspiration points.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Anyone else on the call have any questions, comments, concerns about this? Okay, please help review it offline. And if you have any comments, we can discuss in the PR.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Anyone else have a topic they want to bring up?
I need to schedule a meeting with James to follow up on the volume group PR.
Yeah, sounds good. So for context for folks, volume group was being bumped to, actually, it didn't make it into the last CSI cut. There were some outstanding comments, and so we want to make sure we close on those before we move forward. Anything else? Okay, if there's nothing else, we will keep this nice and short today. Give you all 40 minutes back in your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care.